Very good morning, cadets. So, finally, the dates for your annual examination are out, and syllabus, of course, in detail. I sent message in your WhatsApp group, but still, once again, from the history, chapter number 2, that is New Kings and Kingdoms. Chapter number 4, Mughal Empire. Chapter number 7, Tribes, Nomads and Settled Communities. Chapter number 8, Devotional Path to Divine. Chapter number 10, 18th century political formation. From the civics, chapter number 1, that is on equality. Chapter number 2, there is a role of government in health. Chapter number 5, that is women change the world. And chapter number 8, markets around us. You have to write total 48 marks for history and civics. Out of this, 28 marks history, 20 marks civics. So pattern of examination, the question paper is just like previous, that you have half mark question, 1 mark question, 2 mark question and 3 mark question. Match the following, fill in the blank, true or false. MCQ questions, 2 mark question and 3 mark question. So this is a pattern of question paper. So cadets, I repeat once again, 28 marks history, 20 marks civics, makes 48 out of 80 marks. Leftover marks geography. So study well, because the last 4-5 days are left for your examination. Take care, study well and write well, score good marks. Today let us revise the chapter 1, that is on equality and democracy. Whenever we speak equality, okay, these are the few pictures related to voting right. This is EVM, electronic voting machine, Parliament of India, and recently introduced a system called Nota, that is none of the above. Means if someone want to participate in the election process but don't want to vote any of the candidates, and still they can show their presence by pressing Nota. What is the meaning of the word universal adult franchise? Whenever we speak about equal right to vote, initially it was considered, it is in most of the European countries, the franchise was a limited franchise. What is limited franchise means? Voting right was given only to propertied men. Women were denied voting right in most of the European countries. When India attained its freedom and India declared a republic country in the year 1950, one great thing India has followed, that we adopted universal adult franchise system. The very meaning of universal clearly explains that universal is applicable for all. That's why it's called universal. Adult means those who crossed, those days is 21 years. Today it is 18 years of age. Franchise means right to vote. Every adult citizen provided the right to cast vote without considering his caste, creed, religion, gender, wealth, etc. So voting right is provided for all. While providing voting right, which caste you belong, which creed, which religion you belong, male, female, or third gender is all not taken into consideration. Only the age is taken into consideration. That is what we speak about universal adult franchise. Every adult citizen is provided the right to vote. We adopted universal adult franchise immediately after the implementation of the Constitution of India. I told you the Constitution of India is implemented on 26 January 1950. So Constitution was adopted on 26 January 1950. Immediately after that, we adopted the system of universal adult franchise. It's a storyboard. The maid Kanta, they were waiting to cast their vote. Isn't good, Suja, that we all vote as equal citizens of country, even Jain Sahib standing in the line with us. Go on, Kanta, it's your turn. I will vote for the candidate who has promised to bring pipe water in our area. So you can see people from the various stratas or various levels from the society. Manjit Kaur, teacher; Tej Singh, trader; Girish Rao, student; Kanta Devi, domestic worker; Sujata Kumari, domestic worker. So people who are following different professions, they are all standing in a queue to cast the vote. This situation of equality is not everywhere. Now you see, the story continues. Gudia has been running fever and I had to take her to hospital, but I have to finish the work at Sahib house first and ask for some advance money. And she meets the owner. Here are some of this. You feel better and I'll get back, go to the hospital. Oh, so once she back to home, she promised daughter that don't worry, I'll come back and take you to hospital. And the condition where she stayed, because it is a slum, there's no clean, she feels that Gudia falls ill because of this basti never cleaned. A few minutes, she evening visits the hospital, that is the government hospital. So there she feels that Jain madam and Sahib may stand a line to vote, but they never have to stand to do when their children are sick. But Jain madam, maybe they are, of course they are standing to cast vote, but their situation is different when it comes to providing visiting hospital, because they never visit the government hospitals, so naturally they visit private hospital where there is no need to wait for such a long time. So equal right to vote is different, but equality in other senses are not there. Definitely, that is what when we speak equality. Now let us see other kinds of equality. What is this? This is a matrimonial advertisement. One of the more common forms of inequality in India is the caste system. If you live in a rural India, your caste identity is something that you probably learned or experienced very young. If you live in urban area, some of you might think that people no longer believe in caste. But just look at these matrimonial shown from the leading English newspaper and you will see how important the issue of caste continues to be in the minds of highly educated urban Indians. The influence of caste is very high in the rural areas, but influence of caste is maybe less in the urban or in the cities, because in cities people belong to different caste, religion, and all, they stay together. So naturally, the chance of asking someone's caste is very less. Now let us read the story about the experience of a Dalit child attending school. You have already read about Dalits in class 6th book. Dalit is a term that so-called lower caste used to address themselves. Dalit means broken, and by using this word, lower caste are pointing to how they were and continue to be seriously discriminated against. Let us study the story of Om Prakash Valmiki. Om Prakash Valmiki is a famous Dalit writer. In his autobiography, Jothan, he writes, I had to sit away from others in, in this class, and that too on the floor. The mat ran out before reaching the spot I sat on. Sometimes I would have to sit way behind everybody right near the door. Sometimes they would beat me without any reason. When he was in class 4th, the headmaster asked Om Prakash to sweep the school and the playground. He writes, the playground was very larger than my small physique could handle, and in cleaning it, my back began to ache. My face was covered with dust. The dust had gone inside my mouth. The other children in my class were studying and I was sweeping. Headmaster was sitting in his room watching me. I was not even allowed to get a drink of water. I swept the whole day from the doors and the windows of the schoolroom. The eyes of the teachers and boys saw this spectacle. Om Prakash was made to sweep the school and playground for the next couple of days. And this came to an end when his father, who happened to be passing by, saw his son sweeping and confronted the teachers, and then walking away from the school holding Om Prakash's hand, he said loudly for all of them to hear, "You are a teacher, so I am leaving now. But remember this much, master will study right here in this school, and not just him, but there will be many more coming after him." So, this is story of Om Prakash Valmiki clearly explains how a child is exploited just because he belongs to a lower caste. This is not an unusual story, because it is a very common story in India that exploitation on the basis of caste still on in India, because caste plays a major role in India. Only education can solve the issue of caste. So, Om Prakash Valmiki's story clearly explains that a lot of issues are still unsolved in India related to the caste issues. Why do you think Om Prakash Valmiki was being treated unequally by his teacher and his classmates? Imagine yourself as Om Prakash Valmiki and write 4 lines about how you feel if you are in the same situation as him. This is what we say empathy. We should feel ourselves in that situation and we should respond. That is what when we speak. The second story is based on the incident that took place in one of the India's largest cities and is common practice in most parts of the country. It is a story about Mr. and Mrs. Ansari who were looking to rent an apartment in the city. They had the money and so paying the rent was not a problem. They went to a property dealer for help to find a place. The dealer informed them that he knew about the quite few apartments that were available for rent. They visited the first apartment and the Ansaris liked it much and decided to take it. However, when landlady found out their name, she made an excuse that how she could not rent the house to someone who ate meat because the building any did not have any non-vegetarian residents. So here, what in the name of a religion, so she don't wanted to give house on rent. Both the Ansaris and the property dealer were surprised to hear this because they could smell fish being cooked in the neighbor's house. The same excuse was repeated in the second and third apartments. Finally, the property dealer told them that they might want to change their names and call them as Mr. and Mrs. Kumar. The Ansari were reluctant to do this and decided to look some more. And in the end, it took a whole month of looking at apartment before they found a landlady who were willing to give them a place or a rent. Now, what is the second incident here? First, of course, Om Prakash Valmiki caste. This is what we have prejudice, religious-based prejudice on particular religion. That is what we say. So that is how reason why Ansari could not get the house for rent. Why do you think the Ansaris were being treated unequally? What would you do if you were in Ansari's position and could not find a place to live because some people did not want to live next to you because of your religious practice? So this is about one more incident, a different incident than the Om Prakash Valmiki. Dignity, recognition of dignity. If you have understood by now that the caste we are born into, the religion we practice, the class background we come from, whether we are male or female, these are often the things that determine why some people are treated unequal. Om Prakash Valmiki and Ansari are being treated unequal on the basis of difference of caste and religion. When persons are treated unequal, their dignity is violated. The dignity of both Om Prakash Valmiki and the Ansari was violated because of the way in which they were treated. By picking on him and making him to sweep the school because of his caste. Om Prakash Valmiki's schoolmates and teachers hurt his dignity badly and made him feel as he was less than equal to all other students of the school. Being a child, Om Prakash Valmiki could do very little about the situation. It was his father who, seeing his son sweep, felt angry and by this unequal treatment and confronted the teachers. The Ansari's dignity was also hurt when a person refused to lease their apartment. However, when the property dealer suggested that they could change their name, this was their dignity or self-respect that was missed to refuse the suggestion. So, equality in Indian democracy. So, we of course just now completed the other types of equality. So, we don't have equality in the society, we have equality in voting right. We'll continue in the next class. Thank you.